Well, welcome to the Uncomfortable Truth. We talk about race and racism in America. Is that what we say?
The
Welcome to
chickens
the
have come
Uncomfortable
home to
Truth.
roost.
What was that, Levon?
The chickens have come home to roost.
Welcome to The Chickens Have Come Home to Roost on the Uncomfortable Truth. So we are sitting here. It's about 6 p.m. and on the East Coast, and we just had mobs and riots storm the Capitol building. Police taking selfies with them. Suddenly, everyone is surprised. Let me rephrase that. Not everyone is surprised. Suddenly, many of the Republican representatives and senators are surprised that this would even take place, even though they actually tweeted to Trump or called Trump and said, you need to call this off, which is an acknowledgement that Trump was actually behind this to begin with, which we all knew.
I don't understand why any of them are surprised. I'm not.
No.
I mean, I didn't think they would be able to get into the White House, to the Senate building, because I thought there were sufficient number of police there. I did not know that the National Guard was under the direction of Trump. I didn't know that. But I'm not surprised. What surprises me is that, 130 members of the House who are Republican and 12 senators, and I kept waiting on them to come out and join. I was surprised they didn't do that. I mean, these are their people.
Yeah.
But I wasn't surprised that many people showed up. Trump invited them.
Well, I mean, again, coming back to these senators and Republican, and the representatives who were all in support of objecting to the electoral, college vote, which this was obviously a protest against that. And yeah, like you said, why did they run and hide? Why didn't they stick around? Because this is what they were supporting.
This, exactly.
Now suddenly they don't support it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I've said all along that Trump is not doing all of this by himself.
Right.
Mitch McConnell and the rest of the Republican Party, they didn't speak up. And to me, this is just my view, that those didn't speak up is just as guilty as those that did.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could have said, we don't support this. Joe Biden is the president, and let's move on. They didn't say that.
Yeah.
I mean, who are we kidding here? And we're playing with fire, and that's what they got. And I still don't know that, like, was it Susan Collins who said that Trump was going to behave after he was impeached? A lot of senators and these Congress people still believe in Trump. I believe that. Because you know what it is? They're lost. They don't know what to do next. Suddenly here we are, we're talking about how wonderful it is that this Black woman did all this stuff and is organizing, and they can't compute that.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump has been walking around talking about they stole the election. Now, the average intelligent person knows better. You notice I said intelligent.
Right.
So all Trump had to do to stop all of this was to say, I lost.
Mm-hmm.
And none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
Because they were all following him. What did he expect them to do? And I believe, I can't prove it, that they did exactly what he expected.
Yep.
Exactly. And for those senators and Congress people who do now act surprised at bullshit, they're not surprised.
Right.
They knew what was going to happen.
Well, you got the law and order people. Where's the law and order? You've got the Blue Lives Matter people.
Yeah.
And yet they're attacking police officers.
Oh, yes.
And they complain that Black people can't protest peacefully. Well, what is this? What was fascinating to me, Levon, as well, is there's an image, and I posted it on Facebook. There's the image of all these SWAT, gosh, they look like paramilitary people, but they're police officers or something, all standing this massive, show of force on the steps of the Capitol building. Or not the Capitol building, but probably, I think it's actually it's the Lincoln Memorial. Lincoln Memorial. And they somehow managed to pull out all the stops for a peaceful protest against the killing of a black man.
Right.
But even though this particular mob scene was, orchestrated long in advance, Trump was even saying, "Hey, see you in D.C. December, with January 6th," right? I mean, he was telling everybody this was all over. Everyone knew this, and yet somehow no one was prepared for it. Well, what does that say when you can get if you have a group of black people protesting, you bring out the police? If it's a group of white people, we're not going to worry that much,
Right.
or at all. I mean, Wisconsin, they just had, that case came down in respects to, the decision from the DA, whoever it was, that said, hey, we're not going to prosecute this police officer for shooting this guy in the back 7 times.
Right.
And they called out the National Guard just in case.
Yep.
But here in DC, nothing. What does that say about America when you look at something like that, Levon?
Well, think about it a minute, because we've been building up to this.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the riots it wasn't really a riot, sort of. We had a little riot in Charlottesville.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were going to kill the governor of Michigan.
Right.
And she still is afraid for her life.
Mm-hmm.
And we had all of this, these events happening, and nobody said a word.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now suddenly everybody is surprised that all of these people, they're patriots, all these patriots,
mm-hmm.
Came out and with guns and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
You know what it is? It's like white people don't cause violence.
Right.
These white people, not all white people.
Right.
These white people, they're not violent.
Yeah.
They've done all of this stuff, nothing but violence. They broke windows, they broke into the Senate, they did all this stuff, but that's not violence.
Right.
I just want to see all of the Republicans and all of the people that believe in this talk their way out of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we haven't had a riot like this. There have been riots that white people have caused have rioted for years.
Right.
And we don't call them out on it.
Right. Well, you had the race riots during Red Summer. That was all started by white people.
Right. But they don't, I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I tell you one thing though, it makes one afraid when that's allowed to go on.
Right.
I don't care what the news people are saying, and some are saying, this shouldn't happen, and people keep saying, I can't stand the statement, this is not us, this is not America.
Right.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Where have you been the past 400 years?
What do you live? Where do you live?
Right.
This is America. And as long as you tell these people it's all right to do that, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's just that this time, like with the governor, just kept moving up and it kept getting bigger. And then Trump gave them permission to let go.
And Levon, I think about this as well, as going, here are these people storming the Capitol building. None of them get arrested. And you, along with the other freedom riders and civil rights activists, were arrested for way less.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I mean, it was interesting to see there's a photo of in the House chamber with the House guards inside the House chamber pointing their guns as people outside are trying to break in, and they've broken the glass and they got the guns pointed right at their face. I'm like, gee, you couldn't shoot them?
Yeah, right.
I mean, police are really good at shooting people. Now they can't.
Yep.
I mean, it's the hypocrisy is amazing. And I wrote a post on Facebook that says, tomorrow will be the real test for our future, when teachers either tell the truth or perpetuate the myth.
Right.
You know, how are we as a country going to sell this?
You know what?
Because honestly, if those who are in that position of power to educate don't tell their students why this happened and what happened and be honest about it, then this will just continue.
You know what it is like the people that showed up at the White House don't know what they're going to do next.
Mhm.
This is all they know.
Yeah.
You know, violence, they know, but they don't know what's going to happen next. They think to this day that what happened to Black people is going to happen to them.
Right.
Now, nobody said that. Nobody's wanted to hurt anybody. All they've said was, you know, we want rights.
Yeah.
To them, what they hear is, we're going to take over and we're going to do to you what you did to us. And our leader, whose name is Trump, says, you steal from us, you take stuff from us. I mean, there's a reason why Trump picked the states he did, the places he did, because all he was saying all along was, all these people of color, these young people who have lost their way, we have to straighten them out.
Yeah.
Right? And that's all he's been about. And by the way, Trump doesn't give a damn about those people who showed up at the White House, or those people who has the senators run underneath their desk and stuff. He doesn't care about them.
Yeah.
And by the way, you know, I was just reading this book about how much the Nazis learned from us. And now, I mean, every country in the world just looks at us, every dictator, and says, this is how it's done.
Yeah.
And that you lie to people. I don't know how anybody goes along with the lies, except for this is all they have.
Yeah.
So the truth, after a while, the truth staring them in the face means nothing.
Yeah.
And they have to have somebody to go after, an enemy. So they pick all the people that voted against them.
Yeah.
These people are inside counting votes, and you want something to happen to them. They make up stuff.
Yeah.
And they do that long enough till the people start making up stuff. There were people out there who would believe that stuff happened to them.
Yeah.
They believe that. And Trump feeds that. Well, this has been going on in this country for years.
Right.
You know, I don't know how you fix it, but Jesus Christ. By the way, the Democrats don't exactly tell the truth either. You know, just go out there and say what he is, what they're doing. I mean, this is the reason I always liked McCain, because no matter what else, you always knew where he stood, and he told you the truth.
Yeah.
He didn't bother me one iota.
Yeah.
I didn't agree with him, a lot of the stuff he said, but I knew that if I asked him a question and he gave me an answer, I got the truth. We don't have that anymore.
You know, what's interesting is the people, there's a piece in USA Today, an opinion columnist who wrote that breaking into the US Capitol, disrupting the electoral vote count, every single person involved in the attack has committed a federal felony, seditious conspiracy, and faces up to 20 years in prison. And the crime is, if two or more persons conspire by force, prevent, hinder, delay the execution of any law of the United States, they shall each be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. And that's exactly what happened. A large mob broke into the US Capitol for the express purpose of delaying the execution of the Electoral Count Act, which would result in Donald Trump formally being declared the loser of the November election. Installation of Joe Biden. So, I mean, this is, anywhere else, we would call this a coup.
Well, that's what it was.
And these people should be tried.
I don't know if they had any arrests or not. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Because after all, there were good people on both sides.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what the other side was.
So Tom Bossart, who is the Trump's first Homeland Security advisor, said the president undermined American democracy basically for months. As a result, he is culpable for this siege and another disgrace. The former DC police chief said anyone inside the Capitol should be face down and in handcuffs.
He's right.
They shouldn't be taking selfies and stuff and escorting them around the building and helping them downstairs and so forth. I mean, good grief. But you see the unequal treatment. I mean, this is the epitome. Someone had said that this is protection by complexion.
Yes.
This is the epitome of white privilege, right?
We had more stuff happen to people so that Trump could hold up a Bible, which he never reads, by the way,
Right.
than we did here.
Yeah.
It just, I think they knew Trump was trying to foment this when the Attorney General said, I've had enough, and he left. I think they knew it then.
Yeah.
That's what he was trying to do. He didn't know, I don't think he knew until today that this was all going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the kind of violence that we saw today, he's been trying to foment for I don't know how long.
Right.
And I just think that the I don't know. I just sat there and watched in disbelief. Not a disbelief that it happened.
Right.
But that all those people that talked about law and order and all this stuff, they didn't do anything.
But we look at this, Levon. I mean, we've been talking about this sort of stuff, within the podcast and elsewhere in the films and things like that. But, the root of all of this is this white privilege, this entitlement.
Yeah.
That this is my country.
Yeah.
And that they're taking it from us.
Yeah.
They being anyone, who doesn't agree with me, and particularly people of color.
Here's what people don't know what to do, because now it's all kinds of people that are saying, wait a minute, this is wrong. And the old whistles that used to be don't work. So when Trump talked about, well, I'm going to protect the suburbs, and this one says I'm going to, all that shit doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, those dog whistles. Yeah.
Works on some, but things are changing, and they don't know how to change with it. The Republican Party has ceased, it depends on how one looks at it, has ceased to exist, or is what it always was. It's come out of the woodworks. And to treat anybody who stood by and let this happen different than you treat Trump, I think is crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that all those people, the young people who are coming up, and there's still a place in this country for different philosophies, not different facts,
right,
different beliefs. Let's talk about it, which is what we used to do. We didn't win, but we talked about it. Now we're winning.
And this on top of Georgia, the Senate seats flipping blue.
Yep.
Same day, the results come in.
Yep.
It's interesting because I think about these terms that are used when it talks about when they talk about this voter fraud, this clearly fictitious pipe dream that there's this some massive conspiratorial voter fraud, but they believe, and that's the word, believe that this really is taking place.
Yes.
And forget facts. It's now to a point of, in the core of who they are, this belief. And my mother's calling me. 1 second. Let me put on the speakerphone real quick. Hey, Mom.
Hey, just got home, got Jordan's message, and just saying everything is okay with me. Haven't heard of anything happening in Arlington yet.
Okay. Okay, so Mom, actually, I'm just talking with Levon right now on a podcast. So, what is your take on all this, Mom?
Well, this is the most I've ever seen. It's like a third world dictatorship type thing.
Yeah.
The chaos and confusion. I've just never heard of anything like it before, and we're under curfew in Northern Virginia, and order of the governor.
Mom, I'm just remembering something you said about the March on Washington, where there was this fear that you got that many black people together that there's going to be these riots, and they actually had National Guard troops and such stationed across the river waiting. They might close the bridges, stores were boarding up, and nothing happened.
Now it's happening,
Right.
and
I think,
you know who I blame for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Orange Man.
yes, and Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham and Hawley, and all those people who allowed this dog to run wild. And now they want to pretend that it didn't happen. That's not what they meant. Of course, that's what they meant.
I mean, the idea of the Capitol being occupied and trashed and having to put congressional leaders in hiding,
Right.
hide them away for their own safety, is just unbelievable.
The problem is we keep looking at these as incidents, and they're not.
They're a pattern.
Say again?
There are patterns.
It's a pattern.
Yeah.
The mentality that allows it is a pattern, yeah. But at least we had desirable results from the elections in Georgia. The idea of the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist being elected a senator
You know,
just beyond belief to me.
I had to, I posted last night to a friend of mine that I've always been against people of religion, preachers and whatnot, being elected to anything. And I found myself rooting for the pastor of a church. But
Yes.
I've never had faith in them because they bring, not because they're bad people, but because they bring their religion with them. And
Well,
I've always been afraid of that.
it depends on how they view their religion to me.
Right,
Right. And
right.
we got a lot of the religion of hate going on.
Yeah,
Mm.
So it'd be nice to have some love going on.
it will be. I have to say.
Now, the woman who was shot in the Capitol has died. I was just seeing when I came in. And do we know who she is, or was she somebody who worked there, or was she a demonstrator who took a stray bullet, or what?
I hope so. I'm sorry. I don't.
I'm just wondering.
I don't know.
I don't like
I
people dying.
I saw them taking her out, but I don't know if she was one of the demonstrators or not.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll get on back to the news and let you all get on with your podcast.
All right.
All right. Well,
Okay.
we'll get there. All right, babe. Take care.
Bye-bye.
You know, so much has happened. You know, between the pandemic and Trump being in office. I just hope that people have. I think it woke some people up,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they got to see what's been going on in this country.
Right.
To me, it's not new, but to a lot of people, it is. And a lot of the young people have a chance now to see. We don't have to tell them that this is what happened. We might
Right.
have to tell them why,
Right.
but we don't have to tell them that this goes on. There's been enough people killed, and press has been made about that.
Yeah.
There have been riots, and people now know that. So hopefully, you know, they'll take it from here. Or at least they won't let people lie to them the way we've been lying to them.
Right. Well, and you made a point about, telling them why. The what informs, but the why transforms. Just telling them what happened. They already know what happened.
Right.
But why did it happen?
Yeah. And you got to tie stuff together.
Yeah. What's the context of all this? Let's understand. there's lessons to be learned from this.
Right.
And but if teachers, parents, media, whoever, each of us individually don't speak the truth,
Right.
nothing's going to change.
The tendency is to look at things as incidents.
Right.
Things happen, and it is an incident. But what happened before that?
Right.
And what's going to happen next?
Yeah. It doesn't happen in a vacuum,
No.
and we're all downstream of the past.
Right.
So this is just something that's been building up for years.
Yeah.
We definitely tie this back into to Obama being elected president.
Oh, look at all yes. That woke everybody up.
Yeah.
I mean, black people voted for him, young people voted for him, but a lot of people were paying attention and said, wait a minute, we're losing our country.
What do you say in The Uncomfortable Truth? Take back the White House.
Yes.
Had nothing to do about taking it from the Democrats.
And it had nothing to do with that.
Had everything to do with
There's a black guy in the White House.
right.
We got to get rid of him.
Right.
And we got to make sure they don't have any more. Because Joe Biden had the audacity to go get Kamala Harris, but and we have a habit of, we have to make praise of what's her name from Georgia,
Stacey Abrams.
Stacey Abrams. So everybody's raving about how wonderful she is.
Oh, heck yeah, they should. They stole the vote from her.
Of course they did. That's why she
This
won't
is
concede.
a black woman's revenge.
Listen, they messed with the wrong woman.
That's right.
I don't know, but I just hope that people understand. Here's what I hope. I hope that people understand what just happened and who did it.
But we also need to recognize, why did this take place? Because people rose up and voted against this.
Right.
They voted against this.
Right.
This was going to be, if you voted for Trump, you voted for this.
Right.
You voted for this outcome.
Right.
But enough people voted against this. And enough people in Georgia secured it for us
Right.
with the Senate and said, you know what? No, we repudiate this. This is garbage. Georgia's vote was a vote against Trumpism, a vote against hate.
Absolutely. The presidential vote was that.
But Georgia's Senate runoff was absolutely a vote against Trump and against hate. Well, luckily, he's gone.
Well, not yet, but let's see what else he can do. But
Right.
but his idea is to break everything he can before he goes.
Right. Salt the earth and scorch.
But as soon as the stuff happened in Charlottesville, where Trump said there were good people on both sides, people should have started paying attention.
Yep.
Because he just told you who he was.
Yep.
There'll be elections 2 years from now. Pay attention to them. And always remember the names of the 130 people who said they were going to stand up and oppose naming Joe Biden the president.
Yep.
130 congressmen, there are 12 senators.
They are just as responsible as Trump is for what happened today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we are responsible to make sure it never happens again.
Absolutely.
So we just gotta
Absolutely.
keep fighting the good fight. All right.
All right, babe.
All right. Take care, man.
Yeah, you too.
Appreciate
Take it easy.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.